Hello and welcome back to Dare and Doing. I'm Will Hester and I'm joined by the brilliant Ben Bowman. Ben, how you doing, mate?
Good, thanks, mate. New settings today. New gaff.
Yeah,
in the podcast live and direct from. I haven't moved. It's just from the parents' house, dog sitting for the next few days. But
show us your sausage dog.
Yeah, there he is. Go on, Shan. You right, Shan? There he is. Guest on the podcast today. He's back after a long awaited return. I think the last podcast he came on was it was last season when I still lived here, and he had a lot of interesting things to say. So he's back today. Always good to get third.
He boosted the viewership as well, isn't it?
He did boost the viewership. Let's get him in from the start. Go on, boy.
Yeah,
boy. He's ready to give his transfer opinions. He's probably had more appearances on this podcast than we've had new signings, mate.
Yeah,
am I right?
Hey, have you seen Napoli and Conte's situation already?
Yeah, who could have seen that coming, eh?
Fucking hell.
When I read
Stevie Wonder could have seen that coming, mate.
And not Stevie Bergvall. Even if he was going like this or whatever it was. Since the line in the quote that was like Stellini is ready to take over, that gave me PTSD. That the Stellini is ready to take over.
It was weird. It made your stomach turn, and then you were like, "Oh my god, he's not at my club. Thank fuck."
Yeah,
yes! You sort of looked at it, was like, yeah. You sort of looked at it, was like, oh fuck me, we don't have to deal with this dickhead anymore. Like, imagine being that petulant. You're only like, you've got like a month left of the transfer window, and you're saying, if I don't get a striker this week, a winger, whatever he said. You know what the fucking striker he wants? Fucking Lukaku. Yeah. It's like, why are you getting that stroppy about over fucking Romelu Lukaku? That's what I don't understand.
I made a video on TikTok about a month ago, talking about like the Conte cycle. And because did you see that quote that came out like a month ago that was like, he's training the Napoli players harder than he's ever trained them, and like they're doing 5 or 6 hour days and all this stuff. It was like the most they've ever done. Then the next stage in that was when he was like, I've realised there's so much more to do with the squad. And then the final stage is, I'm going to walk out if I don't get a striker, winger, and a midfielder in the next 48 hours.
Mate, he's only been there 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure he's hardly fucking been there for a long
record for him.
I know, and you think about all the players he's got, like at his like Kvaratskhelia, people like that, the creativeness that he's going to drill out of them. Get ready to fucking start doing horseshoe passing drills. Just around the box, just keep passing it back and passing it, keep switching wings.
Yeah, he's gutted Højbjerg went to Arsenal.
We've got Postecoglou.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Højbjerg would have been perfect for them.
Yeah,
they've got good players like Lobotka and shit like that.
Lobotka's quality, mate. Well, which manager did you hold the most resentment for towards the end? Conte or Mourinho?
It was weird. I think Mourinho was like, come on now, like it's done. Same with Conte, actually. But I think Conte, I now still fucking hate Conte.
Yeah.
But Mourinho is still a goat of the game. Like, I'm like, okay, he didn't like the club. Like, we let him, we didn't, I don't know. We still had a final to play under Mourinho. So it was still like, should we just keep him for that? And then he was gone. And we were like, oh, he's gone. It felt a bit more like disappointing because we were the only club that he didn't win a trophy at. So we were like, oh, of course it's us. And it was there was a bit of taste there. But when you look at Mourinho and the stuff he does, stuff he was doing after at Roma and now he's at Fenerbahce, you still love him just because he's a footballing icon. Yeah. Conte, you just see his face and you're like, oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
I don't want to see you anymore. I don't want to see your face anymore. Oh, it's like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
What do you think? Who do you hate more?
Same, 100% Conte, like 100% Conte. Like Mourinho, I mean, I still stand by the fact that I think it was the right decision to sack Mourinho before the final. I don't care if he's like got this amazing record or whatever. I still think that was the right decision because it's like everyone who said that we shouldn't have sacked him. Did they not forget how bad we were going into that final? Like the Zagreb. Oh God, no! But I don't even throw up, man.
He got out tactic by a fucking prisoner, didn't he?
Yeah, that was just the memories coming back up. He literally got
what do you think of Conte? Ben just fucking throws up.
Whereas, like, but you know, like you said, when you still see Mourinho and like when he was crying when they won the Conference League and shit at Roma, like that's, you know, this is football heritage.
Yeah.
Whereas like Conte's just
heritage.
miserable twat. Like,
Yeah.
get out of my face. Like, get out of my face.
Bet he's fun at parties. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually.
I'm gonna leave. We haven't bought the, you know, the Doritos. Fuck off.
We ain't brought a fucking birthday cake. If we're not gonna bring out this fucking birthday cake in the next 5 minutes, I'm leaving.
This history of this club. Whatever he said. No one needs to go through that Southampton game again. Fuck me.
Yeah, Napoli in the mud. But the thing is, at least Mourinho gave us like funny quotes and that. Conte just gave us pain and misery and just made us feel shit about ourselves as fans as well. And
you remember when we were talking before about Steven Bergvall? That Man City game where he went up to the ref and the fourth official after they missed the penalty.
Yeah. Conte was just like, yeah, fuck off. Make a joke or get out because you're boring. And he's annoying. He just wins.
Yeah, it was boring.
Boring, mate. Yeah. Before we move on, Matt Law, you just seen that?
No. What's happened?
So,
live exclusive bomber in the chat.
Live exclusive bomber. Tottenham are attempting to make progress in a move for Bournemouth striker Dominic Solanke, but there is work to be done if a deal is to be completed. Solanke is high on Tottenham's list of transfer targets, striker targets. Fuck me, you're getting me to read, mate. I can't read. As he's seen as a good fit for Postecoglou's system, and the club have held talks regarding a move for the striker. He has a high buyout clause in his Bournemouth contract, thought to be around 65 mil. That clubs have been, mate. I'm butchering just reading a simple statement. The pressure's on. I think I've just gained dyslexia.
What? Because we might be signing a player, so we're getting a bit too much.
Getting lightheaded. Fuck. He has a high buyout clause.
No, he has a high buyout. I might go on the station before you start, and you said you haven't watched it. I was going to make a reference, but sorry, Karen.
He has a high buyout clause in his Bournemouth contract, thought to be around 65 mil, that clubs have been so far unwilling to match. Tottenham could try to strike a deal under the clause by offering Bournemouth more favourable payment terms.
That's my chairman right there.
Fucking hell. So, does that mean we ain't fucking getting him?
Me own fucking chairman.
Me own fucking chairman.
No, I don't know. I think that sounds quite positive. There's no way, there's no way with the release clause that like Bournemouth are going to sell Solanke at some point, right? And it feels like the right time to do that is probably now for them, because there is the appetite to sign him is there. So I'm just going to put the dog down. The appetite to sign him is there from various clubs, Tottenham kind of being the main one, it seems, at the moment. And I think they would be mad to hold out for the whole amount of money in one go. Like, again, it protects of course, it protects his, one, his value, but also more likely to keep him at the club, same as Eze, right? But if Spurs were coming in and like, okay, right, 45 million up front and then we'll pay you this over, they would take it. Like, I think sometimes people see release clause and go, like, oh God, like, pay the money or don't kind of thing. It's never like that. Like, it's never, ever like that. And Spurs will try and find a way around it for sure. Like, it's, you know, like with Gyökeres, it's like people are saying 100 mil release clause. It's like, well, that's gone down, isn't it? Like, people are now saying about you could get him for 60, 70, 80 million potentially. So, there is always wiggle room with these things. I think that sounds quite positive, to be honest.
Pedro Porro he had a release clause, and it was like pay it or nothing, and we got him on loan.
Yeah,
it was like we just negotiated it. It can be done, like you're saying. Before we get into Solanke, because we are going to talk about strikers. That was a little sneak peek into the conversation.
Little bomber,
little bomber, daring and doing bomber. I want to talk about West Ham.
Yeah,
because there's been a lot of talk online and a lot of sort of like meltdown about West Ham signings. Are they making as good signings as people making out? But because I just feel like there's such a meltdown about their business because we're looking at other clubs making moves, and I think we're just losing our minds because of our lack of transfers. I think because in hindsight, I don't actually think their signings are that good.
Yeah, I think you just got to get out your own way a bit, like. Don't stop paying attention to like what everybody else is doing. I know that's hard when it's like we're not signing anyone and they are. But would you want Nicholas Füllkrug? Probably not. Somerville is a good addition, but again, I kind of feel like a load of Spurs fans were up for Somerville. But in reality, if we signed Somerville as the main winger going into the new season, would you be that excited about that?
Mate, he's a West Ham player.
Yeah.
and Fulkrug, they're West Ham players.
Yeah, Fulkrug is maybe the most West Ham. It's like Yarmolenko 2.0, isn't it? Like,
oh my God, yeah.
Fulkrug is like so West Ham. It's unbelievable. And look, don't get me wrong, they've done good business. They've been very proactive. John Duran as well, potentially, although that might not happen now. Fulkrug's come in. Max Kilman, again, but they kind of not one single deal is the same. Like it's not as, and we've got to be aiming higher than that. Spurs have got to be aiming higher than West Ham. It's like I wouldn't, I really like Somerville. I do like Somerville from what I've seen at Leeds, but would I be happy if he was our number one winger transfer this summer and we didn't sign Neto or Eze or someone like that, or someone of a higher ceiling as an alternative? Probably not. Like I genuinely probably wouldn't. So I think people need to get out of their own way. And that people have got this obsession with West Ham. I think it's got worse ever since they won the Conference League, because they look at them and think, well, they've won a trophy. They spend money. They sold Declan Rice for £100 million last summer as well. Let's not forget. And you could argue that we did with the same with Harry Kane. And obviously, where's that money gone, so to speak? But look, I'm getting a little bit more agitated about the transfer situation now, but I'm not at the stage where it's like, right, oh my God, West Ham are going to overtake us in the big six. Yeah. Like, I feel like that is like where a lot
that's
of our
ambition.
Tell you what, signing Nicholas Fulkrug, a 31-year-old striker who scored less goals than Solanke last season in the Bundesliga, that's ambition. That go and get him. It's just like, But I do think there is this weird, like, it's like the fucking comparison. Did you see the Johnson and Kudus stuff as well over the weekend?
Fucking hell, mate.
Honestly,
mate, Kudus wouldn't make us any better.
Yeah,
I'm telling you that now. I don't.
He's a player, but he's not all we need. Yeah, he's
no. Yeah, fucking hell.
And also, let's not get twisted. Kudus is a better. Yeah, Kudus is a better player than Brennan Johnson. We know that. Like, for context, there was a tweet. I'm not going to say the name of the account because you know why. Basically saying that, like, we're basically saying that how like people are accepting of Brennan Johnson, and basically put up this goal from Kudus last season where he scored that mazy run in the Europa League and scored, and like people think Brennan Johnson can do this. It's like, when has anybody ever? He was like, and the guy was like, oh, and also Spurs fans saying that Johnson is better than Kudus. When has any Spurs fan ever said Brennan Johnson is better than Mohamed Kudus? You're just creating this. You're reveling in your own misery of these fabricated fucking agendas that just all are there to make you more miserable. It's just absolutely bonkers. Just has anybody ever thought of, like, just like your players who play for your team, right? I know it's just sound a bit crazy. Just get behind them. Has anybody ever thought that? Just stop worrying about everybody else.
Thought about that before.
It's mad, isn't it? Like, like when the players are going through like bad times and that, like Richarlison, like shit. Like, anybody ever thought about getting behind these lads? Because maybe, like we saw with Richarlison, maybe that might result in an upturn in some sort of form. Like it could happen. Just a shout.
Oh, mate, I've never. That's mad that you've twisted it like that. I've never really thought about it in that way. Because I love hating my own players. Like, that gives me joy.
Yeah, it gives me an absolute rock-on boner. Like,
yeah, all the stress I endure during the week is released in abuse to our players, and it just makes me feel better about myself.
Yeah, I don't get a bigger dopamine rush than when Brennan Johnson drops a stinker. Like, I just
miss the 1v1.
Miss the 1v1. Like, yeah, I just don't. I love it. I love it. Give me more. I'll miss more.
It proves me right. Proves my Twitter opinions right.
But that's the thing, mate. People would rather be right than that. I don't know what the saying is, but you know what I mean. People just want to be right, don't they?
Yeah,
it's just bonkers.
Yeah. I mean, it's a systematic thing as well. They clearly don't understand that Brennan Johnson works in our system as a winger. That archetype Postecoglou goal, him and Werner are so good at it. They may be quite limited as players, but they work in our system, and their goal contributions last season prove that. But and again, I think they look at Solanke, think the same thing, but he would be brilliant in our system. He'd be absolutely superb in the way that we actually play our football. And I think people need to look at that before they look at like individual players isolated, if you know what I mean. So before we get onto all that, actually, I've just seen another thing about. I think Matt Laws dropped a fucking article, and we'll get into this because it links into what we were just saying. Because I saw
bro dropped an essay
on Twitter. Bro's dropped an essay.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I want to read this again. I don't know if I want to put myself under that pressure.
That's right.
Sorry. The salary that Conor Gallagher has been offered by Atletico Madrid would have placed him amongst top earners at Tottenham, who, despite long-standing interest, never followed that interest up. My phone's just turned off.
With an official move for the player.
With an official move for the player. Well. Yeah, nice. So Spooky said, tweeted, and I thought it was so funny. He said, like, obviously Gallagher's going to Atletico Madrid. But the same people, and they're the people that we've been talking about, the same people that are like are saying like, why are we not signing him? We're not fucking ambitious. He's going to Atletico Madrid for like 30 mil. Like, why aren't we on that? They were the ones angry with us being linked with him in the first. Like they just love being angry. Do you reckon they go home to their kids and their kids are like, Dad, can we play like catch? And they're just like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, look at you. I'm fucking disappointed in you. Look at the fucking state of you fat little prick. Like, do you know what I mean? I feel like they're the type of people that do that.
You are nothing to me. You're nothing to me.
But it's true though, isn't it? Like, but first of all, what do you think of Gallagher going to Atletico Madrid? And how would you feel that saga is now over?
Great, relieved.
Yeah, me too. I don't want to fucking see his name again.
Like I've got a glow about me all of a sudden. I just feel better. Just like look, Spooky as ever. You know, Spooky is one of the best kind of calm heads on Spurs Twitter, as always. He's completely right, and also like I literally saw a tweet from that unnamed geezer this morning, being like, Spurs, so basically slagging off all of the ITK journalists by saying that like, oh, so everyone reported that we were interested in him all summer and now he's just gone to Atletico Madrid. It's like, yeah. It's like almost like other clubs can be in from as well. We never put a bid in. It's like, yeah, because they clearly maybe didn't think that there's no way like Chelsea would let him go to us for that cheap. Well, I say it's cheap, but like for 35 million. For Spurs, given the fact we're a rival, given the fact that we've finished above them how many times now in the last few years, they're not going to sell him to us. They're not going to sell him to us anyway, but they're not going to sell him to us for 35 million. Gallagher himself said that he didn't really want to go to a rival because of his love for Chelsea, but then again, the way they've treated him, I don't think he would have been unopen to the move by the end of it. His mate, that is fucking embarrassing. That is genuinely embarrassing. And people will look at Chelsea and look at the money that they've spent and spunked on all these players, right, and say, well, why aren't Tottenham spending this money? They are being run like an absolute circus, being taken. The soul is being taken. Not that they have much of it anyway. Taken from that club from the inside out. You know, hanging academy players out to dry like that, like Chalobah, like Gallagher, like not, you know, saying that you're going to train with the kids and all that for someone who captained them in basically every game while their club captain was injured all season. It's honestly embarrassing. It's like if any Spurs fan looks at Chelsea and any part of them wishes we were doing something like they were doing, it's like you need to have a look at yourself. But yeah, exactly right. Most of the people that are angry that we didn't sign Gallagher are the ones that didn't want him in the first place. And my opinion on it the whole time has kind of been like, I think you're probably the same, or like we've spoken about it a few times. Like, if it happens, if it happens, it happens. I like Conor Gallagher as a player. I think he's better than people give him credit for. I think people, you know, he wasn't particularly great for England in the Euros, but you could clearly see why he would fit into the way that we want to play. And again, as has been the case with the recruitment the whole time with Spurs, or the kind of approach to it has been that it's about players that fit into the system. And it might not be the most flashy name in the world, but this is a guy who played very well for Chelsea in the Premier League last season, who clearly fitted the way that Ange Postecoglou wants to play. But he'll be. The irony for Chelsea is that he'll be amazing at Atletico. I'm Simeone, like
Simeone, yeah.
Can you imagine? Like Gallagher will be superb, and he's someone that I know it sounds crazy to say they'll probably build that midfield around in the next 5 or 10 years because Koke's aging. You know, Gallagher is such a workhorse. He's perfect for the way they play and perfect for Spanish football. So, I like Conor Gallagher, and I'm kind of glad that he's just out of Chelsea one way or another. Am I disappointed that he's not at Tottenham? No. Would I have liked him to have been at Tottenham? Potentially. Am I glad it's done? Yes.
Yeah, the saga was just dragging, wasn't it? Like, even like in the winter, we'd be like, oh my God, have we just got like a top tier journalist say we're like interested in someone? And you'd be like, oh, fucking Conor Gallagher again. Like, because you just knew that it was never going to happen.
It's like Damiao 2.0, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. You just knew it was never going to happen. So, but I mean, I feel a bit hypocritical saying like, oh, I'm glad we didn't sign him, because I was just saying that you look at the player, don't look at the individual, look at them in our system. He would be brilliant in our system, but we've just got such a bulk of players in his position already. So I just think I wouldn't drop like that much money on him. and like Matt Law saying, he would have been on high wages and stuff like that. So I just think let's move on and never think about him again. And he'll have a good career. And I think it's good for his England career from a selfish point of view as well.
Totally
that he's being refined by a coach to the level of Diego Simeone. I mean, look at Kieran Trippier when he went to Atletico Madrid from Spurs. We all thought he weren't the best in defence, but his defensive levels, he was upgraded as a defender because Simeone drilled him after training. He'd do like 1v1 drills, defending drills. And actually, I thought that was a weird signing at the time because Simeone is quite defensive, but he made it work. And I think Gallagher's going to have a great career there. But
yeah, I think it'll be the making of him. I generally do. And like you said, for England in the future as well, given the talent that we've got coming, let's not spend the time talking about fucking Chelsea.
Yeah, Conor Gallagher. Yeah, I know me. Yeah. But it is what it. Yeah, I'm like you. I'm glad the saga's over and we could just move on.
One thing that we can talk about with Chelsea though is the fact that the Conference League draw has just been made because they're in the playoffs, mate. They're not even gone straight through to the group stage. They've got Braga. Or
that's actually
they could get knocked out.
Out of all the like playoff games in the Conference League, that's the worst one.
Yeah. Whoa. There you go.
Mate, how fucking funny would it be that Maresca's start to life would be knocked out of the Conference League?
Yeah, in the playoffs.
That would be brilliant.
I watched on Saturday night. I watched the Man City Chelsea preseason game. My word.
They got turned inside out, didn't they?
Yeah, looking good, bro. They conceded 2 goals in the first 5 minutes of the game and then conceded 2 goals in the first 5 minutes of the second half as well and 4-0 down.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Mate.
Dewsbury Hall, good sign. Spurs should have signed him, shouldn't they?
Fucking hell. We have got our own midfield baller. So we don't need any Gallagher or Dewsbury Hall. He is our one and only twink, Lucas Bergvall. Yeah. How good is this kid? Yeah. Oh, fuck it. I shouldn't put those two together. How good is those two words? Twink and kid. I shouldn't fucking. How good is this player, Lucas Bergvall? And what makes him so good? And like, is he?
Just start that whole bit again.
I can leave that in, can I? How good is? How good is Bergvall? Yeah, and what makes him so good? And is he giving out the decision to make?
A few moments later,
he is he is class. And to your question about whether it's kind of given Ange a decision to make ahead of Leicester, I said it on my stream on Sunday. For me, he starts that first game of the season. I don't care. Yeah, I don't care if he's 18. I don't care if he's not played a game in the Premier League before. He's physically combative enough. He gets stuck into challenges. He was playing in a midfield three against Lima, Goretzka, and Paulinho the other day. Like, and I'm not saying he didn't dominate them, but he held his own more than that, and he more than held his own, and he was absolutely fantastic. So I'm not worried about the level of where he's at. I think the confidence is clearly flowing through him at the moment as well. And I think in terms of balance, like I think it makes the most sense. Obviously, James Maddison is struggling at the moment. Like he just looks kind of a shadow of the player that we kind of, well, I say became used to seeing last season, but saw for the first 10 games of last season before the injury. And look, I don't want to put Maddison down because we were sitting here earlier, sort of talking about our own players and how we kind of view them and stuff like that. But and it's nothing to do with Maddison necessarily, but I just think I would love to see that. I'd love to see Basuma, Sarr, and Bergvall for me as that midfield three for the first game of the season. I just think the balance that gives you, Bergvall and Basuma kind of rotating in that sixth position, going to get the ball off the centre backs and the goalkeeper, so comfortable kind of playing out from the back with the press. I think Basuma and Bergvall actually struck up quite a nice little relationship in pre-season in terms of playing together. Yeah. I think they're very much on a similar wavelength. with that kind of 1-2 touch passing and sort of that rotation and not getting in each other's way. It was all kind of coming naturally. I think. I think the kid is unreal. Like like when it kind of got to the end of the season, it was like, oh yeah, Bergvall's coming next year. That'd be good. Like you kind of just thought, okay, we'll see what happens. From the first game, I've just been like, nah. And look, don't get me wrong. I always thought he was going to be good, but this kid is good. Like this kid is really good.
Yeah, I mean, he had all the assets to his game. Like when you were looking at him play against like Swedish farmers, yeah. But then you're thinking, how does that sort of transfer into when you're playing when you don't have any time on the ball? It's so much more physical. You're going to get kicked about, but he looks like he's just gone with it, and he's taken to it like a duck to water.
Yeah,
and he is an absolute unit, by the way, and he will only keep getting bigger. But also, he's got those twinkle toes and like just he's so elegant, and he's so sharp, and you can see again now and again he'll show little signs of rustiness, but this is what preseason is all about. Get used to playing in the system. Get used to playing against a tough opposition. I mean, like you said, Goretzka, Lima, and Paulinho is unbelievably, one, physical, two, very demanding. They're non-stop. And three, they're just class, aren't they? And how much do they all cost? They're world beaters. Like, I mean, okay, that's a bit of extent, a bit of an exaggeration, but Bayern Munich.
Paulinho was the third best number 6 in the Premier League last season behind 2 world-class players in Rodri and Rice.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Any time what was great about the game, and if you missed it, watch the game, but you feel free to watch my stream back because I did a lot of analysis on Bergvall. Anytime he was playing with his back to goal, or sort of with his back to play, and he was receiving the ball into feet, if Paulinho or Lima or Goretzka kind of came into the back of him, he would held them off easily and kind of got away from someone needs to make a comp. Hugo Films, I'm looking at you right now. Because you made the Bergvall one on Saturday. We need one that's like the art of the body feint, because this guy has got like he's got that just drop of the shoulder, and he just gets away from players so kind of easily. And I think one of the best things about him is in terms of getting away from those midfielders as well when they got tight to him is just the manipulation of his body, and he is very strong. He's strong. There was one time where I think it was Lima that maybe pressed him. Looked like he was going to give the ball away, got it round him, and then wins a free kick. Goretzka, there was one moment where Bergvall picked the ball up deep into our half and ran with the ball, kind of gliding past all the Bayern players, and it took Goretzka fouling him to stop him and give him a yellow card. Like, yeah. I don't think
he scored at one point as well.
Oh, where he tackled it off of
defender.
Yeah, if that had gone in, because that would have been 2-2 with like 25 minutes to go, and I'd be like, you start was night in the World Cup stadium.
You start so you cut out. You say that you start to wonder if it's going to be Tottenham's night.
But no, he was an all action kind of display. Like I don't know about you, but like I don't want to label him as anything in terms of like is he an 8 or a 6 or a 10? I think he's a unicorn. I think, isn't he, in that aspect?
Yeah,
of, like,
he is, mate.
A very rare kind of like breed of just like can kind of do everything. And I think people look at him and like you called him a twink earlier, right? Like he's very, he's a handsome young lad with nice hair, blonde, that maybe on the surface might look like he's not up for a kickabout or up for a kick around. Do you know what I mean? But he is I think he's deceptively strong, and he won't be bullied. 100%. He's a bit like Odegaard, and again, we don't want to give Arsenal players too much credit on it, but like I think Odegaard has got that. I think we said this on a pod a few weeks ago. We're talking about Bergvall. He's kind of got that. Like we said before about being quite deceptively strong, and he gets stuck in. He doesn't challenge out thing, and the way he rides challenges as well. It's very similar to maybe someone like Odegaard. Maybe not as kind of. I think Odegaard is a bit more twinkle toes than Bergvall, but
yeah, I think he's if you put him in as a 6, an 8, or a 10, you can compare him to the players like Odegaard. If he's playing more advanced, you can compare him to people like Frankie de Jong when he's playing as that number 6. You can even compare him to like a young Nah, he's not. No, never mind. I was going to say like a young Jude Bellingham is number 8, sort of box to box, but
Yeah,
I think he's not anything like Bellingham really, but his frame looks like a young Bellingham. I think.
Yeah.
I think he's going to like I think I've said this before. I think this was a tweet by someone. I think it was it Simon? But he's saying basically he's going to fill out. And he's looking more and more like Bellingham in that sort of just absolute tank. And by the time he's Bellingham's age, he'll fill out even more. So but I think he gets stuck in more than Maddison. I think
100%.
What I've seen so far. So and he adds a bit more fluidity because I think if you put him in the number 6 position, say him and he's covering Bissouma's. Like he's covering Bissouma's gone wondering. He fills in that position. You're more comfortable with him in number 6 than Maddison is. I think that fluidity 100%. In midfield it's more better balance when he's in the team. So he's 18 years old, but it's given Ange something to think about. But last season Brentford, he chucked Van der Ven in straight away. He chucked a doggy straight away. He don't give a shit if you're young,
don't care,
and experience. If you play the system well and your quality, it'll play you. So.
I don't think other than Romero and Van der Ven and Vicario and probably the whole defence, to be honest. I think the defence, I don't think that there's not a first 11 at Tottenham. There's not. And I think that's Harry Brooks kind of talks about this all the time. There shouldn't be a concept of a first 11. And I think that's why for me, like it's just about what I see best in terms of being able to put the best team on the pitch and kind of finding that balance. And you kind of mentioned it there with Bassoon and Bergvall, but what would your if you were going to add another player to it for the Leicester game, like as a midfield 3, what would yours be? Would you have Bergvall in there?
Oh, mate.
If you had to do it right now for Leicester, it's 2 weeks today, that game.
Well, Maddison just looks fucking shit.
Mm.
That's a bit harsh, but that is a bit harsh. But Maddison don't look right. I think there's something going on.
Do you think the pressure's getting to him a little bit?
I think that's it. I think we're linked with Eze, and actually that's going to be my next question. So it's a nice segue into it. But I'll answer your question. I think Bergvall just looks so much more confident, and I think he plays with a bit of fearlessness that Maddison may have from the experiences he had last year. He started so well.
Yeah, he's kind of gone into a shell a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. And obviously he didn't get in the England squads. He's had a couple of stinkers on tour. And I think he beats himself up a bit too much. I think his confidence is low at the moment. But then you got Bergvall, who just looks fucking ridiculous, mate. He looks so good.
Yeah, he's insane, mate.
I think I wouldn't play. I don't think I'd start. Oh my god, I've turned into fucking Sean Dyche. I think I wouldn't. I don't know if I'd start Sarr and Bergvall together. I don't know whether that's too young for a first Premier League game. I think I'd put him. Yeah, he'll be up against Harry Winks. What would you do if he played and Harry Winks absolutely fucking bossed him? But I'd probably play. I'd probably play Bentancur, Bergvall, Bissouma. I think that's a perfect sort of balance.
I do really like that.
I think you need a tempo dictator. Bentancur can be that.
Do you think? But I think Bergvall can be that though as well. But then
he can be that as well. But then you can have both.
I think what you get with that is the most fluid Tottenham midfield you can build. I think because like
they could cover every position.
Bentancur goes into the 6. No, that was just what I was going to say. Like Bentancur goes into the 6. Like, but the only reason I wouldn't go with Bentancur right now is just because I don't think. Obviously, what's the day? They should be back at Spurs this week. The lads, right? The Romero, Van der Ven, Bentancur, and Lo Celso. Yeah. But I don't see Bentancur being in a. I might be wrong.
He might still be sharp though.
Yeah, it could be. I just think he might take his time with Bentancur. Not because of any. Look, there's been so much shit going on with him over the summer, but I don't think it's anything to do with that. I just think purely from a sharpness point of view, it's different with Romero and Van der Ven because you need them. Like you do, we fucking need them.
100%, yeah.
Oh, we need them. But Bentancur, I'm not saying he's indispensable by any means, but I think there is more room for. Okay, right. If he's not there, we can figure it out, kind of thing. And again, he wasn't necessarily guaranteed to start towards the end of last season anyway. So I would probably go with Bergvall, Sarr, and Bissouma. But like you said, I think if everybody was fully 100% raring to go, I think in the best midfield that Spurs can probably build right now would be Bentancur, Bissouma, and Bergvall. Yeah,
talking about midfielders, we have still been linked with midfielders. We've been linked with Amir Richardson, who's been playing for Stade Reims?
Reims,
Reims, and He's obviously played for Morocco at the Olympics. 21 years old, 6 foot. Is he 6'5", 6'4", 6'6"?
I've seen conflicting reports. Between 6'4" and 6'5".
Yeah. What type of player is he? And how badly do you think we need someone of his sort of character in the squad?
I think they're clearly craving it, whether we think they need it or not, because there's a lot of midfielders. But look at this guy. He's not. He doesn't profile similar to Ramsey or Gallagher necessarily, but I think in terms of basic principles of someone who's able to get up and down and help us in defensive transition, but is also very strong when carrying the ball forward. This kid looks like Dembele. Hey, do you know who he looks like? He reminds me of Dembele and Bentaleb mixed into one player, like, in a good way. Like, take all of the best assets of Bentaleb, like all of the great assets of Dembele, and then make him 6'4". It's like me, do you know? Like a big guy. He's so good to watch. Like, I'll be honest with you, I didn't have a clue who he was before yesterday, but I've watched one. I've watched one comp, and I'm convinced. I think that he is. That boy looks special. That boy, he just.
Emerson Royale comps look good, by the way.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
That's what AC Milan scouts have been watching.
Also, left-footed players always look better anyway, don't they?
Yeah, they do. That is true. Yeah, that is true. There's something about him.
Yeah, he's very easy on the eye though. Like he does. He's got the Dembele glide mixed with like also being fucking 6'4" and I'm gonna bash. I'll see you later. Right. Obviously, Dembele had that as well, but Dembele was more. It was smaller, wasn't he?
He's more classical music than Dembele, wasn't he?
Yeah, rhythm. Yeah. That's what it was. This guy maybe rhythm, a little bit more drum and bass. A bit more like probably a bit more clunky than Dembele. But
yeah, I mean he's young. He's young.
He looks like he could be a monster if you get the right manager on him, and if you bring him in for whatever. Again, the only issue is that if he was English, it would be absolutely perfect. But
that's true.
Richardson, no, sounds like an English surname. Any English passport?
Just quickly change his passport.
But he, like I said, I think. I mean, I don't know. I probably shouldn't talk about it that much. There were the McTominay links last week, right? And I put a tweet out saying that hear me out. I don't think this would be that bad a signing. And to be fair, some people were with me, but some people were very much not with me. And again, I'm not saying McTominay is the answer, but like I said, from that and the links to Gallagher and Ramsey especially really in terms of this kind of profile, that is something that Spurs are clearly looking for. And again, it's not just about the fact that we've got a load of midfielders. It's like, yeah, but we ain't got that midfielder. Like they are. Ange, there were some quotes today from Ange, like in the interview that he did with Alistair Gold, where he was talking about that kind of need to build that squad and, you know, have all these different options, etc. What we didn't have last year. I think they sort of still see it of like we need one of everything, not just like, you know how like usually people go like, okay, we need two of every position. Now I think it's like, right, we need one of every kind of player. Like it does feel a little bit like that.
That's true. Actually.
Richardson, I think, kind of ticks some boxes in that aspect. Look, again, French league, young potential. Who knows? We've been here before, but he does look good. He does look good. I can't say much more than that, but he does look very exciting.
I feel like we need. If we are going to go into like sort of midfielders market, I feel like we still lack a sort of dictator ball passer, like a pure passer dictator player. Like we're not going to get him, but like a sort of Zubimendi type player. Yeah. Someone who gets stuck in. Fabian, mate, I've noted him down. There was this ITK, probably the biggest amount of waffle you're ever going to see in your life.
100%.
But he would be unbelievable, and I feel like you could play him as a box crashing 8 who dictates play in that Bentancur role, works hard, gets stuck in. But that sort of partnership he'd form with a Bissouma would be the perfect combination, because you got someone that can dictate the play, completely control possession, do it with that sort of rhythm like you're talking about, and then you've got Bissouma who you give him the ball and he'll keep the ball, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? And wriggle out of tight spaces, and I think that combination would be perfect. And then you can move further up the pitch to a Maddison or a Bergvall. Yeah.
So do you still see Bissouma as an 8 then? Do you think he's best as an 8?
I think he looks. He's so pivotal to the way we play. Yeah. I think he looks vulnerable, isolated, which I think most players, apart from Rodri, would do. So especially in the way we play, and especially how he plays on the edge, and he's always trying to wriggle out possession.
And also, everything does go through him, doesn't it? A lot.
Everything goes through, and he's always man marked. Always. It's inevitable.
where he just quickly, like on his performance on Saturday, there were a couple of times where he gave the ball away. Either got caught or couldn't quite make a connection with the pass. But there was one time where he back straight away, and once he settled down into the game, Basuma, like I know he had that kind of obviously difficulty last season, coming back trying to find that consistency. But he is an unbelievable player to watch when we were talking about Dembele earlier, and I know that there were comparisons between Basuma and Dembele at some point last year because we love to do that as Spurs fans. But Basuma is a joy to watch, like when he's in that form. Like genuinely a joy to watch, like an unbelievable footballer. I think you're right. I think I'd love someone like that, like a Zubimendi or like a Fabian Ruiz as well, like someone who can sit that a little bit deeper and just dictate and get forward. Again, Fabian Ruiz we do lack it. I think Fabian Ruiz is probably more of that profile that they're looking for in the sense that he's kind of that leggy carrier as well and has got quality in his passing. I think with like someone like Amir Richardson, it's like maybe it might be one of those things where, again, who really knows whether there's any truth in it, but buy him and loan him back, maybe one of those where it's like loan him back for a year, let him have another year in the Liga and then next year. Because again, I've got this feeling that Spurs maybe, and I think it's a big season ahead for someone like Bentancur. I've got this weird feeling that Spurs sell him next summer.
Possibly. If he doesn't hit the heights he did before his injury, I think maybe.
Yeah, if someone comes in for him where he's like 27, 28, do you take the money? Don't know. But maybe that. I'm not speaking that into existence because, again, I think there's a world in which Bentancur by the third or fourth game, once he's back up to it, becomes one of our best midfielders again. We all just are desperate to see that. So, yeah, man, Richardson looks exciting. But yeah, I do think you're right. I think in terms of that tempo setter, that dictator, I still think we're missing that a bit.
I also think I think we need a little splash of extra experience in the team as well because we're getting all these young gems, and I just think someone who's just steady, someone that knows how to win, but someone who's just oozes class and that sort of composure in the team where there's a lot of young developing players.
Yeah.
I think that's the perfect mix, perfect balance.
My old man always says to me, I agree. My old man always says to me, like when Leicester signed Cambiasso, like, that's what we need. And it's like, I wouldn't quite go that far, but it's like, I see what you mean. Like, I'm not saying Spurs shouldn't go out and buy a 35-year-old veteran who's won it all, like in quote unquote.
Perisic.
Yeah. But I do think, in relative terms, I do think experience is probably needed a little bit in that dressing room and with these young players. I do think that.
Yeah, I think so. And a little extra, like a bit of leadership, and I think it will go a long way. I think that's a really underrated quality that we may not have, or we do have it. It's just we've got a lot of players that we've got a lot of players that are gonna, if we're gonna be challenging for stuff, that's gonna be a new expectation on them and a new experience for them. You just kind of need those steady heads in the squad. But obviously it's a very, very weak link to Fabian Ruiz. But that type of player, I think, is someone we need. But let's talk about Maddison then, because you tweeted out last week that you think Eze would be bought to start over him most likely.
Yeah.
Elaborate on that sort of opinion, and also how much risk is he at, Maddison, if he underperforms for a large part of this season?
I think, not to sound dramatic, but I do think this is a bit of a make or break season for Maddison at Tottenham. And it sounds mad because he's only been there a year. But if you look at where he's at in terms of his career, especially off the back of the England snub in the summer and kind of that dip in form, I think it's little bit make or break for him potentially. And I think, again, whether they see someone, look, who knows whether Eze is going to happen or not. There's 3 weeks left of the window. Is it going to happen? Maybe not. Maybe it will. Who knows? But the fact that they are clearly looking at him shows that, we think he can play on the wing. And again, we've talked about over the summer how he could fit him and Maddison in. But if they found a way to work, if they brought him in and discovered that the best way to use it would be still, because one of the things that was in that Matt Law piece about Solanke was that Ange wants to get Sonny back on the left. So if they did buy Eze, he'd be coming for that number 10. He just would. Naturally. He fits so well into that kind of 4-3-3. We've always said it. Like, I think Eze, when he's a little bit deeper as that ball carrier as well, to get the ball forward into those positions, he's so good in transition. Maddison has maybe got more of an eye for a pass than someone like an Eze. Eze is more maybe knit it together and work your way up the pitch, whereas Maddison has maybe got the eye for the spectacular a little bit more. But I think Eze, I think we need Eze. I think Eze is kind of look, if we don't get him, I'm not going to be gutted as long as we bring in some other players. But I think in terms of that kind of profile of player as a number 10, I actually think that is something that's still kind of missing for Spurs. Someone who can feed the. But also just to break it down simply, I just think he's better. He's better than Maddison. Eze is a better player than Maddison. Like he is, and I know
he's younger, isn't he? He's younger,
he's
same age.
Younger. Like I don't want to turn on Maddison. I'm really not going to do that. But it's just like he set expectations and he's not met them. Like since then, and again, look, injuries, all that kind of thing. And look, he's a lovely player, Maddison, when he's on his day. But again, there's a lot of kind of home truths that I think have probably been revealed a little bit that were kind of put to us by Leicester fans in the sense that this is kind of what happens with James Maddison throughout the course of a season. This isn't anything new particularly. So that does make me worried. And again, how is he going to react to that pressure of Bergvall, of Mikey Moore, of Alfie Devine potentially, of Aberi Eze, Kulusevski, who, like we said last week, has been training as a 10 throughout the summer. So, or training centrally at least throughout the summer. So it's not panic station. Well, I think he probably is panic stations from a little bit.
Do you think? I think last season in pre-season, he didn't look. He had a couple of good moments in the last pre-season, but he didn't look that good. Not anywhere to the level he was at the beginning of the season once the Premier League actually started.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it was it was the first game of the season. He just come alive.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable. Got 2 assists, and just looked settled and ready to go, and with a point to prove, like he deserved that big move. And I think he's got the arrogance, the confidence to overcome this situation. I mean, he is under a lot of pressure, and he's had quite a traumatic in regards to his career, like last 8 months when everything looked so rosy for him.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to be better than he's ever been.
Yeah, exactly, and it just hasn't happened. And I think he would have taken that to heart. I feel like he's the type of person that takes things to heart.
Yeah.
But I think he's got the capability to bounce back. I don't think it's panic stations just yet. But if it's halfway through the season and he's still dropping stinkers, I think you're thinking
we're in trouble.
I just think, where do we go from there? Because you don't want to be. I don't think we'd be able to sell him, but we'd have to sign someone unless Bergvall was just reaching the levels that he was like that. He may do Bergvall, but you don't want to have that expectation of Bergvall.
No,
you want Maddison to be the player that shows Bergvall how it's done, and then Bergvall sort of integrates slowly. But if Maddison's underperforming, it just puts us in a sticky situation. It just puts us in a bit of a awkward situation, I think. But I think he has it in him to bounce back.
Yeah, I think he probably does. I think it may have been a little bit harsh. I think he probably does. I'm desperate for it. Maddison first 10 games, like when he's in full flow again, when he's playing with that confidence, he's incredible. Like he's such a lovely footballer, and was still a great signing for us. If you put a gun to my head and said if we signed Eze, who would start in that 10? For me, it's Eze every day. But again. It's a nice problem to have, I guess, in a way. But it's just like I'm worried about Maddison. I'm a bit worried about Maddison.
And also, it's a bit of it's the timings of things as well. Because at the beginning of the last season, if you to give that sort of would you rather Eze or Maddison, you'd be like, oh yeah, Maddison all day. I love Eze, but Maddison all day, he's a joke at the moment. And then by the end of the season, it completely turned on its head, and Eze was amazing. We need to sign Eze, and Maddison was sort of like forgotten about a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe he could hit the ground running and surprise us and keep that. And it was just that injury against Chelsea. It just completely disrupted his momentum. And I feel bad for him because some of it was out of his hands. But yeah,
and he's a massive momentum player, I think.
Yeah, he is, and a massive part of our system last year as well. When he was on form, he was crucial. But yeah, let's talk about strikers then. Obviously, we had that Fabrizio Romano Bumba that we've been craving. It was Dominic Solanke, which was very controversial. I think a lot of people were hoping it would be like a fucking Victor Gyökeres. But Dominic Solanke, Ali Gold has actually said as well that we like Gyökeres and David. And actually, I think there's something to that because Paul O'Keefe said that list is always changing and they're always narrowing it down to a few options from a big list. And that original list had Openda, Tony, who was the other one? Girassi. It had just a load of players on that list, basically.
Yeah.
Now it's been narrowed down, it sounds like, to Gyökeres, Solanke, and David. And Solanke, because he's homegrown, probably takes the sort of top spot. But I think with price tags and price ranges, David's going to be cheap. Gyökeres, Solanke, they've got high release clauses. I think we're trying to we feel confident in working around those release clauses, like we were saying earlier. But Ange has said that it's a priority position that we're looking at in the window.
Yeah.
First of all, considering their package and their price tag, do you want to rate each potential signing from lowest to the best possible striker that we could get out of the three? Before we talk about individuals, who would you put as like third place, second place, first place from third?
It's difficult because it's like, is it the confirmation bias of the fact that we know that we're actually linked with Solanke quite heavily that makes me put him at number one? But I think all things considered, I think he probably is my number one. I think Solanke 1, Gyökeres 2, David 3. But look, I'm not as anti David as like some Spurs fans are. I don't.
Sorry,
I'm just I don't, what you can say, because I kind of struggle to talk about Jonathan David a little bit. Really, I have my doubts.
He is more of a doubt, I think, than both of them, but he's less of a risk in terms of like the financials. Because if he'd be 25 mil, him and Richarlison could definitely like do a job together and loan Lancashire, and I think that works. But I mean, if we sign Neto and David, we must have like the smallest team in the Premier League, and set pieces are already an issue for us. Imagine Jonathan David defending the front post. I mean, like it's not going to happen. So. I think Solanke and Gyökeres, they're both brilliant in the air. They solve that. Gyökeres will be probably a bit more expensive. I said on you did a live today, and I got this from the lab episode you did, which was really good, by the way, with Mark Nesbitt and Flav. And Mark was saying that I think the fact he's English and he's been a slow burner in his career, and now he's hit the ground. Like, I mean, he hasn't hit the ground running, but now he's found his form. I think that has sort of hurt him a little bit in sort of his reputation, because if his name was Dominique Solanke, and he was French and he's smashing it at the Olympics right now, and he scored 20 plus goals he scored like 19 goals in the Premier League last year, people would be saying, "Oh my God," they'd be twerking for him. They'd be going, sign him. Because he's the perfect age range. But he's homegrown. And then we're talking about what we were talking about earlier with the systematic sort of aspect of it. He's perfect for the system. He can get in behind. He's rapid. He's a presence in the box. He's fast feet. He's got great control, good link-up play, great at holding the ball up, presses relentlessly. Have I repeated myself? I can't remember what I was saying, but he does fit that Ange mold. It's just that name for some reason, because he's bounced around like a few clubs and it hasn't worked out for him, because he's taken his time getting to the point where he's at now. I think there is that bit of hesitation on the name. I think Dominic Solanke and also the price tag, 65 mil release clause. I mean, I wouldn't pay that, but if we can work our way around that, I think it's a brilliant deal.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think you'll find a lot of people out there that wouldn't pay it for Solanke, but would pay it for Gyökeres. And I understand that, but when you zoom out, you have to ask yourself why. Because there's so many people who will kind of throw this like one good season narrative at Solanke, which I think is completely unfair. Because again, there's context to all of these things, and the same with Gyökeres. Like sometimes, if you're putting them against each other. To put down Solanke, like you can learn a lot about Solanke from Gyökeres, if you get what I mean, like in terms of the career path and that kind of slow burn. Watkins was quite similar, maybe. Tony again is someone who bloomed 2 years ago when he was 26, what the same age as Solanke is now. You know, so it's like not all of these strikers kind of hit the ground running in the same way, and people would say, okay, let's go and buy Tony. Tony's 2 years older. Solanke, I think in terms of Solanke's trajectory, he's only going one way. I genuinely believe that. Like, I think I'm not saying he's going to be a world-class striker. And I think if you look purely on the eye test, I think you could argue that Gyökeres is more impressive. But again, scoring 19 goals in the Premier League is something that Gyökeres has never done. Gyökeres has never played in the Premier League. Solanke's done it. Solanke's got 4 good seasons worth of Premier League experience, 2 where he scored hardly any goals, no goals at all, basically. But again, he was 20, 21 in a team that was battling relegation with Bournemouth. He scored 7 goals and got 7 assists in the season just before the season before last, where he survived relegation with them. And lo and behold, you bring in a manager that wants to play positive football, that plays to his strengths. They play very quick on transition, Bournemouth. I think I've got a video coming out about Solanke later, and I was looking at the numbers. Like, they were the second quickest counter-attacking team in the whole of the Premier League last year, which, again, when you look at Solanke's ability to run behind, but also his ability to drop deep and link up the play and set those wingers free, you play to his strengths. And no wonder he scores 19 goals. And again, when you look at where those goals come from, I think 17 non-penalty goals, they're all in around the box, all in around that kind of 6-yard box, 12 from the penalty spot, kind of inwards. Like, I think he's carved out to be perfect for Solanke. I think for Spurs, sorry. I think when you listen to what Ange was saying the other day about that need for a striker, and it definitely feels like, I think we for so long almost thought the priority was maybe a winger, but maybe that's not the case. And that need to bring in a striker in his mould. Look, Gyökeres would be amazing, but again, I think Solanke's maybe more of a sure bet. Look, Gyökeres could come to the Premier League and absolutely catch fire. Like, he could. Like, the eye test would tell you that. That assist he got yesterday against Porto, I think, in the...
Yeah, brilliant, yeah.
Unbelievable. He's got such a well-rounded game. But so is Solanke. Great presser. He was the best pressing forward in the Premier League last season.
Is that a stat?
Yeah, he was the best pressing forward.
That's encouraging. That's really encouraging.
Because I read this in an article on Opta Analyst. To be fair, it was from the end of April, so the numbers might have changed, but he was at that time.
Yeah.
So give or take 2 or 3 games potentially. But it's going in the video anyway. He was the best, because it's so hard to find pressing stories. This is a boring rant about like trying to make my own videos. Pressing stats are so impossible to find anywhere. But anyway, I think he was the best presser. Let me get it. I'll get it up because it is really impressive, and I think it also strengthens the case for the fact that he is ready to go to a big team, because Tottenham, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City, Man United, Liverpool all want to press from the front. I just clicked on the running order. Hang on, sorry, 2 secs. Here we go.
Well, I think also if you put Gyökeres in, but like, watch find that if you put Gyökeres in Bournemouth's team last season.
Does he score 19 goals?
19 goals? I mean, I think like your instinct says yeah, but think about the transition from. I mean, put Dominic Solanke for Sporting Lisbon.
Yeah,
he's still scoring 30 plus.
I agree.
I know Gyökeres got. I think Gyökeres got what? How many goals was it? Was it 29 goals?
29 in the league, and then like 10 assists as well.
Yeah,
like
so
comps.
Yeah, but I just think he does. But also, Solanke. His personality is perfect for the way, one, to integrate into the group, but two, he seems very, very humble and but confident.
Yeah.
But he's not, I'm the main man. You have to like. I don't think he's that problem that was hanging over us whenever there was Tony links isn't there with Solanke. And I think I think Richarlison and Solanke would happily, if we sign Solanke and then Richarlison does end up staying, I think they'd still work really well together.
Yeah, I know.
And they'd be a couple of good like rotating options in different competitions. But I mean, Ange would love him because he hasn't got the arrogance for I'm the main man, and also he's a proper system striker, and he seems like a brilliant human being as well. So ticks all boxes, I think, for Ange.
I agree.
What was the stat?
The stat was again, this was at the end of April, so you can basically call it for the whole season. He led the Premier League for pressures in the final third, and pressures in the final third resulting in a turnover, i.e. them winning the ball back. So, and again, the fact that he led it for that shows that he's not just running around aimlessly trying to win the ball back. He's actually winning the ball back. He's an incredible, like you said, that kind of goes hand in hand with his personality and the fact that, we know that relentless high pressing is a non-negotiable for Ange in terms of the principles. So could you find another striker that kind of ticks all those boxes? Probably not. So look, £65 million is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. But if there's a workaround in terms of the release clause, which I think, as much as Bournemouth will put up the stance that release clause on nothing, as every club will do in that position, of course you would. It's not always the case. It's just, it doesn't happen like that. So we'll see. He wasn't in the squad for them yesterday, which it was through an injury. But again,
yeah, I saw that.
We've seen this before, and we've seen it before. He's house hunting. That's what he's doing. He was a really wild lady. He's there. He's doing the skywalk. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think when I first saw when that bomber broke from Fabrizio Romano, I think I was like, oh my God, I need that like dopamine. Give me the dopamine. Give me it. Like I was like that. But then I was like, oh, hang on, Solanke, and I feel like there's everyone's trying to gaslight you into their side of he's not good enough. What is it? 29 goals in.
The amount of times been read that stat is just like,
yeah.
Give it a
but
rest.
then people saying he's perfect, and it's like, which way do I go? Which way is he going to be?
Yeah.
But the more I think about it, the more Spurs it is in a good way. Because actually, think about it. Last summer, the people we signed, you probably had the same people moaning about ambition and West Ham and that, saying, "Who the fuck is fucking Van der Ven? Who the fuck? Like, these ain't good enough. These will always be mediocre. Like, these ain't." And Solanke is one of those players that you probably will have those types of people moan about this, and then he'll hit the ground running because he doesn't have to adapt to the Premier League now. He knows, he's a 20 goal a season striker, but he'll be linking up with the likes of Son, hopefully Pedro Neto. Neto and Solanke is a brilliant couple of players to sort of upgrade the attacking front line if that happens.
Yeah. We need attacking options. We need other options elsewhere, but the attack is for me. Like, we've got good options there, and like I said earlier about Amir Richardson, like, it's about having almost a one of everything, really, like a kind of pick a mix of options to go with. But I think that has to be. We kind of stack there already, but it's just about refining the kind of quality. I think you're right. I actually, again, my YouTube video will probably be out by the time you're listening to this on Solanke, so it doesn't really matter. But I end the video kind of by saying that I think that for anyone that doubts him, if Spurs do sign him, I think he'll win over the doubters very, very quickly. Like, very quickly, and become like a fan favourite. I do genuinely believe that. I think, like you said, he's one of those players where you can. We always talk about stuff like work ethic and all that kind of stuff. And look, some players, it comes through a lot more on the eye than others, in the sense of, like, you can see how hard they're working for the team. I think he's like, one of the things that has kind of always been a bit of a doubt about Solanke is his technical ability. His feet are unbelievable, and his physicality as well to hold off players. And I think he's got the potential to be. I think. I'm not going to say an incredible striker, but I just think that he is like, this 19-goal Premier League season isn't. It's not a flash in the pan. It's really not. I do not believe that whatsoever. I think, like I said, I think he's only going one way, Solanke.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying it's the very top, but it's. I think he's ready for a big move. I do genuinely believe that.
He will go right to the very top, to the very top.
Yeah,
I think if you think about his age range as well, I think in 4 years he'll be like 30.
Yeah.
And Watkins won't be about. Tony won't really be about.
England's
they might be, but they're not going to be like at their peak. I'm trying to think who other strikers. Haaland probably won't be in the Prem.
Bit Madrid or something, won't he?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like strikers. Alvarez probably won't be at City. I'm trying to think of strikers that
he like this time next week.
Prolong. No. But the longevity's there as well. I think with Solanke, we'll have his best years. I think.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's
and also
3 or 4 years time, you just go and buy another striker, and then Solanke. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, even if by next year he's average, it depends how much money we spent on him. But if we sell Richarlison by next year and sign another striker, I know that's a bit of like.
We'll go and buy a young striker, or like you let Lancashire come through or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I just think it's a smart signing for where we're at right now.
I totally agree.
And but also, like you're saying with the doubts, he's a smiley character. Yeah. He's got iconic celebrations. He'll win the doubters over if he hits the ground running 100%. He's lovable. Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Was a gooner though when he did say that he did that interview saying he supported Arsenal as a kid, but fucking Harry Kane.
Forget that. Yeah, that didn't happen. Yeah. The right back role was interesting though at the moment. In the market, because obviously Fabrizio Romano's been tweeting. And well, he tweeted it. The quotes existed before he tweeted it. Obviously, but Ange bigging up Jed Spence, saying that he's impressed not only him but all the coaches, and that he's a Spurs player. He struggled a little bit at left back, but
got better as the game went on. Though he did get better.
Yeah,
I think it was like one naturally defending on that side is hard against Gnabry, and Sacha Boey as well was really impressive. It was more that I think he struggled to invert in possession, trying to receive the ball, and obviously he got caught out for the goal, which I don't think was his fault. It was Vicario should have had the awareness and just gone long. But in the second half, he got into so many other areas, and I think one of the things about him playing at left back is that he's such a good ball carrier. I don't think it matters that he's playing on the wrong side, because if you are able to play out from the back, if he inverts into central midfield, he's a runner. He's like, when he gets going, it's like, okay, we can get up the pitch from.
Can't stop him. Yeah.
5 seconds from kind of our own half to the edge of the box. So he's a bit like a freight train in that aspect as well, and he's got good quality in his passing, which is good. So
he fits.
A bit.
Yeah, of course, but he fits the system. He fits the system brilliantly, doesn't he? He just does. It's just it's so handy that he's come to life almost and sort of had that redemption arc at this stage, because we're selling Emerson Royale. It looks like I know Archie Gray can cover right back, but I mean, do we need another right back? We don't. We more likely need a left back.
Yeah, that Fabrizio tweet, I didn't understand, where he was like Spurs are exploring right back options. I didn't get that. I don't think that's going to happen. I'd be amazed if Spurs sign a right back. I think, like you said, left back is the one. Yeah, left back. And even then, it's not that big of an issue. It's not that big of an issue. But if you're going to sign another fullback, for me, it's got to be left back. I think obviously we're going to keep Ben Davies now, but I think we either need a fourth centre back. But Vuskovic looks fucking class. And did you see he went off injured because of how powerful the header was?
What, serious?
Yeah, he scored a header and he went off at half time because they said he apparently was like pain in his neck or whatever. He bulleted the ball so hard he went off injured.
He just looks like a joke. I mean, 17 years old, he just fucking looks unreal. But I think left back, obviously Ben Davies sort of covers that position until I reckon he'll be another player that next pre-season will be saying he's ready for that fourth centre back role. So I think Ben Davies one more year, and then I just think we need a backup left back, a Dorgu or something. But Ben, I'm going to give you a sort of predicament to finish the pod off.
Yeah.
Before we get onto this, everyone, thank you so much for reaching 400 subscribers. That's unbelievable. So every time we upload, there's so many like wholesome comments, and it's so supportive, and I'm wowed every time. So thank you, everyone.
And the pods are gonna they'll ramp up as well when the season gets going. They'll ramp up. So
we'll be doing like 2 a week, I think. So hit that subscribe button and don't
exactly
miss
500. The next target 500 before the Leicester game.
Mate, that'd be unbelievable. Yeah, that'd be unbelievable. So share it with friends. Keep showing the love and hit that subscribe if you haven't already. But Ben, here's the predicament. We're a bit in the dark. Obviously, Solanke links coming in. Neto links are there a little bit.
What lies beneath?
You get Dexter on your lap.
Yeah.
I just I mean, wait, what was I saying? Yeah, Leicester. You have to guess the starting lineup we go against Leicester in 2 weeks' time. What is it going to be?
Vicario in goal, I think.
Emerson Royale up.
No, I think Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven. I think they'll just come both straight back in. I think it will probably be Spence at left back potentially. If because a doggy's not played a minute in pre-season yet. I think they were probably hoping that he might be able to be involved against Bayern on last Saturday. Obviously, we play Bayern again next Saturday, or this coming Saturday rather. Whether he'll be involved in that, but I think he'll probably go with Spence. I think the midfield, if I'm guessing, I think it'll probably be Basuma, Sarr, Maddison. But that front three, I think it'll be Kulusevski, Son, Solanke.
Oi.
He's injured though, isn't he? So even if he does come, I think Solanke.
He'll probably be injury prone by the time we sign him as well.
Followed by to the Leicester fans, you're like, fuck off. Back to the Championship, fuck off. Points deduction.
I forgot about that for Leicester.
Yeah,
we are fucked. They're fucked. They're fucked. But I reckon Vicario, Dragusin, Vicario, Porro, Romero, Dragusin, Van der Ven.
Yeah. Oh yeah, okay.
I think so. I think so.
All right.
Fabian, no, I'm joking. I think Bissouma, Sarr, Maddison.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he'll start Bergvall, even though he probably should. And Gray as well. Maybe even Gray. I think we're forgetting him as well.
Yeah.
And then Solanke, Brennan, Son.
Oh yeah.
Neto comes on 30 minutes to go, scores a brace, and then gets injured. We'll be there.
We'll be there. What was that thing that you said that time, Neto? He was like, very, very false. Very false.
Yeah. No. Very false. Very false.
Did you see, to finish on the Neto thing, did you see the quotes that came out from him being like, I'm happy to stay here, like, to make the club better? It was like, the context of that he was at a club kit launch event. Like, he's not going to say to fucking Doris and like Paul, the Wolves fans, is he, that I'm leaving? So I think there's a good chance the Neto deal gets done, to be honest. I think it'll be
so.
I think it'll be Neto and Solanke. I feel that in my balls.
Mate, I can see it. And also it's like a proper there. If Spurs were going to bring in a couple of attackers, plus obviously Min Hyuk as well.
Yeah.
I think that's such a sort of
Forgot about him.
Where we are. They're very smart signings, Neto and Solanke. I think for attacking upgrades. They are upgrades. I think, in my opinion. Ben, you've been a legend as per everyone. Thank you so much. Go and check out the Solanke video if you haven't already.
Yeah.
That Ben's doing tonight. It'll be out by the time this is out. But everyone, legends, and we'll see you all soon.
Up Spurs.
Up the Spurs.